Hello and welcome to the Retro Hour podcast. I'm Dan Wood.
I'm Ravi Abbott.
And me, Joe Fox.
And this is what we've done every week now for 7 years, giving you exclusive access to the biggest names in video games. The podcast comes out every single Friday, but we're here today to tell you about our most ambitious project today, and this is a big one.
Oh, God, absolutely. So we've been doing this now for the best part of a decade. We've been doing it for just over 7 years, interviewing some of the world's biggest and best video game developers every single week on our podcast, The Retro Hour.
And we're super excited to bring you a premium quality book. You know we love our books, and we've created a collection that only we can do.
Now, that's always been the reason that we've done this podcast. I mean, we love talking to each other and bringing you the news every week. But really, the reason we started this podcast 7 years ago was to bring you the stories of the people who shaped the industry, the people that ran the companies, that made the games that we grew up playing. And it's been a difficult task. We've done over 350 interviews, but we've picked 10 of our favourites to feature in this book.
Yeah, so we're going to bring you 10 of our favourite interviews, and these interviews are with developers from all around the world. We're also going to bring you 3 exclusive interviews that are available only in the book and not on the podcast.
Yeah, and as well as that, we've also got artwork with the amazing David Rowe. You might know him from Nightmare, James Pond, loads of other games from back in the day. He's going to be doing exclusive, amazing artwork for the book as well, which just looks absolutely fantastic.
So that is what we're aiming to deliver with our first book, The Retro Hour, The History of Video Games from Those That Made It Happen. Now, if you listen to the podcast, you know that we do try and really put an effort into that kind of polish, that professional standard in the show as well, and we're hoping to carry that over into the book. And I think this book's going to be interesting for anyone who has an interest in video games, an interest in business, wants to learn a bit more about how what is now the biggest entertainment industry in the world was shaped from the people who actually made it happen.
And you know what? We are beyond thankful to be sat here today doing this. Like I say, we've been doing it for 7 years now, independent. Dan has said it as well. The biggest thing we've probably ever done for the podcast, other than the actual podcast itself. And it's absolutely amazing that we can sit here, and it's because of our fans, our listeners, the guests that we've had on, that we can now do this, and we just love for this to happen and for you guys to allow it to happen as well.
So the Retro Hour, the history of video games from those that made it happen, is of course now live on Kickstarter. We've put so much work into this. We hope you'll enjoy it. We know you'll enjoy it, so please show us your support. Thank you.
Greetings, Clint from LGR on YouTube here, and just wanted to say congrats on the book. Look forward to seeing how that turns out. I always think it's cool whenever a bunch of interviews and knowledge and stuff from podcasts or whatever is condensed down into a more digestible form like that. So yeah, looking forward to it. And just a bunch of cool dudes there. It's been fun being on the show a couple times over the years. Just always enjoyable hanging out, talking retro, talking life and collecting and whatever else. Yeah, just congratulations to y'all from me.
The Retro Hour is one of the best retro podcasts out there. The variety of the guests they have, the quality of the interviews, and the loveliness of the people behind it just make it essential listening every week. There ain't much more else to say. A cracking bunch of lads.
Oh, hello, Chip Dippers. Perry Frantic here. I'm just taking Kit Tesla for a drive down Nostalgia Lane, and it occurred to me to mention to you that the Retro Hour is by far, by an absolute mile, the very, very latest podcast that I've listened to. But it is also super cool, and it's actually really important to keep documenting all of this retro stuff for our kids and for our kids' kids. Probably for our kids' kids. You get the point. Either way, back now. I'm going to back out now. See ya.
The Retro Hour podcast. It happens so often when I'm doing my history videos. I end up finding interviews that these guys have done with the developers. It makes my videos so much easier. These guys are an incredible resource when it comes down to video game history preservation. I adore what these guys do. And I actually featured on the podcast as well. So